Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Friday, June 23rd, 2023. In this video, we're going to take a look at a couple of things, kind of a little bit of a rabbit trail, just a mini one, okay? And I'll go with you because it seems like there is news that's not quite being fully shared with us right now about U.S. ports. Many of them seem to be closed, especially on the West Coast. And we're being told that the only reason that is happening is because of labor disputes. And I think there may be more to the story. And let me show you a compilation that led me to think there may be more to the story and that we might want to take a peek at the situation using the tarot cards. 1 second. As always, when I share this screen with you, this will be a compilation that's available via Facebook, okay? And that link will be in the video description box. Now, here is a picture of a cargo ship, just in case you're not too familiar with them. You know, each one of these would be on the back of a semi-truck, so that is a lot of goods that's coming and going. Now, one of the issues that's happening, besides the fact that the ports aren't unloading these and they're unloading them slower when they do, is the fact that Panama Canal, one of our major shipping lanes, is having an issue with water supply. The reservoir that supplies the canal, and I don't claim to understand why, since it goes from one seaside to the other, they're not using seawater, but the reservoir that feeds the Panama Canal is at historic lows. It might be worth noting that Panama Canal reservoir, including reservoirs that also serve the Suez Canal, and I think there's a third one, are owned by China. Kind of interesting, I thought. Now, I am not giving a blanket endorsement to Benjamin Fulford. However, anyone, even someone who, I want to be careful with my phrasing. I will just say anyone who is reporting in alt media or is part of the truther community, no matter who they are, there's usually a measure of truth in what they share. And I felt like his weekly report, Ben Fulford's, on the 12th was on point. So it's worth sharing. It is not a blanket endorsement of everything that this person generates. Okay? But I thought this was good. And here's what he said, that the U.S. corporation did go bankrupt. And what we're watching now is corporate BS. All right. Now, one of the things that I thought was good, and this is again a factual graph, if U.S. ports have shut down and trade isn't collapsing, the demand for cardboard boxes should remain steady. But cardboard boxes are having a historic recession. So the demand for cardboard boxes, which is what the goods and services in those cargo ships would be using a lot, is down. So there's fewer things going into boxes, there's fewer things going into cargo ships, and there's fewer cargo ships coming to our ports, and there's fewer ports that are open for very many hours of the day. I think that's all kind of interesting. Now, I used Brave Search and they do a summarizer, and it started with the most recent entry and went down. So despite mounting shipping delays and cargo backlogs, the busiest U.S. port complex shuts its gates for hours on most days and remains closed on Sundays. You know, it hasn't been that long since these were 24/7 operations. In April of 2023, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach closed due to widespread worker shortages, apparently linked to ongoing contract talks. I like that they added apparently. Okay, I just wanted to include that because that is officially the narrative, that the only reason that there is a slowdown and of goods coming into the United States is because of labor shortages. And and I look for them then to anticipate them to say that because the Panama Canal isn't working as quickly because of the reservoir shortages, that may be an issue too. But let's ask the universe what's going on here, okay? I'm just going to keep it really simple and say I want to ask the universe the official story that the reason ports are closed and goods are moving slower in and out of our country, is because of labor issues. Is this accurate? And is there other information or insights the universe wants to share with us about what's really going on with our supply chain, ports, and goods and services moving around our country? I suspect it has something to do with the fiat dollar not being as welcome, but we'll find out. Okay, so is the official explanation of labor issues for our supply chain disruptions and things like that, is that accurate? Is there more to the story, and if so, what? Okay, now those didn't jump out. This is my small hands having issues, so I'll just keep shuffling here for a second. Okay, our first card is the Page of Pentacles. Then we have the Hermit. We have the Six of Swords, Strength. The Magician, 1, 2, 3. Major Arcana so far. Here's another one, the High Priestess. And then the Eight of Pentacles. Okay. Right off the bat with 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas. This is a good topic to be asking about. Okay. The question was, we were asking, is it the official explanation about labor? Is that, should we stop there, or is there more to the story? All right, now the Page of Pentacles is showing up. This is about worthwhile effort, and it also includes goods, tangible goods, and often that includes money, gold, silver, dollars, things like that. So we're being told it's about labor, but our first card had to do with money, tangible goods. Then a little clarifier here, we have the Hermit showing up. This is kind of our divine energy card. Okay, so that the situation, we just get a little reassurance right now that even though we're not getting the full story, that it has more to do with tangible items like our, fiat dollar. The situation is being watched over, so that we're not going to get to the point that we're dire. In fact, in the recent past, we have the Six of Swords showing up. And like I've said before, it's one of my favorite cards because it talks about protecting innocent life and going to a better, a place where there's less chaos, less what have you. So as our world is making these changes, that's already been in process because that's the recent past card here. Now, it's always good to look at what the Hermit points at. If he is indeed pointing at another card, because if he showed up here, he wouldn't be. Okay, he is shining a light on the Strength card, which is a good card of feminine, divine feminine energy, overall just strength, no matter what it is, and just loving kindness and a lack of fear on her part, and a lack of fear on a less evolved life form. So that's kind of cool. That she has no fear that the lion's going to attack, and the lion has no fear of her, is letting her, do something. And I love that. So from a point of strength, we're looking at here, again, we're getting told, hey, it's important to know this. Yeah, there's stuff going on with your supply chain. There are things going on with cargo ships not making it to ports not being used. It's a good question to be asking about, but you really don't have a lot to worry about. I say that because let's look forward. First of all, our near future card is the Magician. Now, the Magician is our ultimate manifester. So again, needs are going to be met. They're going to be met. Needs are going to be supplied through manifestation. Okay, that's why I'm saying that we're not going to have any huge shortages that are, extended in time. Don't run out and fill your garage with toilet paper, folks. We've always said, though, it's good to have, some food, water, So a cash stash, if you can afford it on hand within your means, have some readiness, but that doesn't mean spend all weekend emptying out the stores by any means, because things within balance, there's going to be some balance of supply and demand. And while the magician has access to energy from above, as well as, on the regular earthly plane, it's a very balanced sort of energy, symbolized also here by the infinity sign. So just infinite ability to make things manifest as the need arises, but doing so in a balanced way. And we've lived in a world that doesn't have balance for the types of energy, for judicial systems, for all sorts of things. And that is coming to it in the end. Now, we've got the High Priestess here for our strongest insight card. Now, she shows up when there's some truth that's getting ready to be revealed. In fact, it would be available to us if we just simply were able to look behind the curtain. So this is that there's some truth coming that's going to be headed our way to explain some of these shortages and outages that don't have a lot to do with labor, but do have a lot to do with the fiat dollar. Okay. Now, since this is our less important advice card, what I'm getting from this one is just a reassurance that while some goods aren't going to make it to port, there is still going to be some that gets offloaded in here. Plus, as I think Derek Johnson was saying recently, the warehouses are picking up the slack. And so that's why people aren't seeing huge shortages, and there's no reason for alarm and panic. Let's get a few more cards and see if we can get some information and other insights. Okay, King of Wands. Nice cards. And then the Four of Wands. Okay, Wands are our actions card, and the King of Wands is one of vision and leadership. So again, we've got not only divine benevolent beings watching out for the situation, so there's no cause for alarm. It's being handled very wisely. That's part of the reason that it's not making the major news. If the mainstream wanted to, they could highlight this situation about the ports and ships not coming in and cause just as much interest as they did about that submersible last week, but they're not. And there's a reason for that. They've been asked not to. Because it's really not, oh, hi, Judgment. And Ace of Wands. Okay, so all of this has to do with some of the apprehensions that are going on with our world, and this change of, from dark to light. And just the Ace of Wands is showing up here for our final card, which is a new beginnings and creative success. So again, yes, we're noticing the Panama Canal. It is slightly concerning that the reservoir that feeds it is at historic lows. Personally, it concerns me that country that we're not supposed to have very good relations with controls that water flow and does so for how strategic was that for every canalway there is. If they want to slow down world shipping, they can do it like that. Okay. But I love that the Judgment card shows up. Okay. So some people are having to review their past mistakes. So let's recap. We looked at the fact that there's a lot of U.S. ports that if they're not closed completely, they seem to be closed for all of Sunday each week and many hours each day. And these were ports that in the past had been open 24/7. The official explanation for that is that there are labor disputes going on. So it's hard to find workers. Now, there may be some merit to that. There may be, the cards kind of indicated to me that there's actually been some incentivization towards the unions to have these labor disputes so that they do have an explanation that doesn't cause panic and what have you. And we know that there is truly a change in the availability of the workforce because of so many suddenly things happening. So that happens too. But when we asked about, is that all there is to it? What's more is going on? The very first card, is there more going on? We got, our question was indicated by the Page of Pentacles, and this is a finance card. So it doesn't have to do with the labor as much as it does with the fiat dollar. Fiat dollar is having some issues. It's not as well accepted. Now we got reassuring card after reassuring card. First of all, we got a lot of major arcanas in this read telling us it's an important question, but again, not one to lose sleep and worry over. This is our divine energy, off-world type of help. You know, the situation is being watched and is under control. We have a huge amount of warehouses and maybe some recovered goods and what have you that can make it into circulation. The recent past card, again, reassuring, had the Six of Swords showing up for that, which is always about protecting innocent life, which we know is a priority for the good guys, okay, for the alliance members, to protect innocent life as much as possible, to keep collateral damage to a minimum and get us into a better place for the path of humanity. The Strength card is for the showing up for the current. So what they're doing with the moving and shaking and changing things, like that saying goes, nothing can stop what is coming. And they definitely working from a position of strength as they do. The near future card, again, telling us not to worry, was the Magician card, which is the ultimate manifester. Okay. And he does so, he has access to all elements and is really well balanced in what he does manifest. So our needs will be met. If there's shortages, they're very temporary in nature, or substitutions will be available, things like that. So again, nothing to worry about. Our strongest advice card was the High Priestess. Now, in a political read like this talks about some truth that's just below the surface. In fact, it may be coming out soon. So we may be learning more about these shortages, the Panama Canal drying up. We may be hearing more. There may be some truth that comes out. The other advice card that came out was the Eight of Pentacles. And what my intuition was telling me on this one was, look, there's 3 that are available down here. There's 5 that are still kind of in process, is how I see this. So, you know, this is what's still going to be coming in, even though there's a slowdown, a trickle of goods and services coming in. They are happening, despite the fact that our poor old fiat dollar is not too welcome anymore. Okay. Got a little more extended advice. Okay, this is firm foundations and a wisdom card, just knowing that the situation is being managed. It is being overseen, and cool, calm heads will prevail. And then Judgment. Because part of what's going on here is with these ports closing and goods and services, some of that squeeze is on the fact that people are facing judgment. And that means that their assets are confiscated, and there's other things that come along with that. So yeah, and then again, anytime an ace shows up in my readings, no matter where it shows up, it is a yes. So yes, there was more to the story. There's more than just labor disputes going on. With the presence of some pentacle cards, it pointed me towards money as being an issue. And we know that the G7 countries, and the US is one of them, are still trying to cling to the facade that their fiat dollar has some value and merit. And they don't want us to realize how much of the world is no longer willing to take that US dollar for their goods and services when there are viable and asset-backed options out there. And those options are going to do nothing but increase, especially once BRICS meets and starts their annual meeting. So yeah, okay. Now, we've talked about the money situation before. Remember, our fiat dollar has got to, it's going to, you know, it's got to die. And the white hats, the alliance, the good guys are doing all they can to have those death throes have the least real-time impact on us possible. Okay, that doesn't mean there's none. I'm not going to say we're not hurting, because people are. Okay, no doubt about it. But every effort is being made to keep that to a minimum. And then the sooner that the fiat dollar does finish its nosedive and we can go to asset-backed currencies. I'm not talking about the new world stuff here, because that's crazy. I'm talking about asset-backed currencies, the better. because that's what our future is about, is asset-backed currencies and payment systems. So it's going to be cool when it does, but getting there isn't all that fun. Okay, it's like PT after a car accident. You can get some good results, but you work for them and they're kind of painful. Well, that's what it feels like for me with this world that we're living in. Okay, I know good changes are coming, but because of the resistance to them and the fact that evil still does have at least a toehold, not a stranglehold, on our world, and they're not going without shooting every arrow in their quiver. You know, it can be a challenge. It can. So remember, take a break from all this if you need to. Okay. If you lose the ability to laugh at it and shake your head and go, oh, those crazy evils, when are they going to learn? You know, when can we quit playing these games and having all these stand in and really get to some truth and relevance in what we hear and see and know? It's going to happen. It is. And we'll just have to be patient. And if we get impatient, that's a good time to take off your shoes, go take a walk, get grounded, do something good for your family, your friends, you know, find something to laugh at, smile at, all that good advice, you know, that doesn't cost any money. You just have to stop and go, oh, yeah, it would be a good night to take a walk. It would be a good night to do something simple with my kids. How many of you play tic-tac-toe? You know, doesn't cost any money. Thumb war, have a thumb war. Basically, make life good for you and those around you. Even if you don't have money to do it, you have time and love to spread with those who mean a lot to you, so please do so. And until next time, speaking of love, I send you love and light and everything bright. Bye.